Hey Matt, can I tell you a story?
Yeah, what's up?
So there was once a guy who got a new job. He started working that job early about August, and during his time at that job, he really put forth all his effort into his work. Well, one day, this man had not taken a break for about 2 months. He was working nonstop, only had the weekends off, but he was really pushing himself. And so this man goes to work on a Thursday. And at some point throughout the day, the man felt nauseous. And so he went to the bathroom and he ended up throwing up.
Ooh.
Well, yeah. And then the man tries to go back to work, but slowly he starts feeling his heart racing. He's sweating. He's still nauseous. He's shaky. His vision's blurry. And he tells both his bosses, "Hey, I need to go home. I'm pretty sure I'm having a panic attack." And so his bosses were nice enough to let him go home, midday. Well, later that night, the man was getting ready, getting his stuff ready, so that way he can go back into work tomorrow, and gets an email from one of his bosses. And his boss told him to take the next day off, take the Friday off, and get a 3-day weekend in. Now, I don't know about you, but have you ever had a boss ever tell you to take a day off because of your mental health?
Absolutely not. It's all work, work,
Well,
work.
well, this man was me. This was actually me starting my first year as a teacher. I was working really hard. It was my first year. I was wanting to prove myself that I am, capable, that they hired me for a reason, and I wanted to prove to myself that and prove to them that I am good at what I do. And I ended up getting into this situation where, yeah, I ended up having a panic attack in the middle of class. Had one of my coworkers watch my class. I went to throw up, and then I emailed my bosses, and I was like, I'm having a panic attack. Literally was shaking. I couldn't do it, and so, but it was crazy because I knew it was a panic attack because there's a difference between panic and anxiety, and we'll get to that today with our topic, which is mental health. Um, because that day, when my boss sent that email Thursday night going into Friday, she said, take the time off, take a day off, because your mental health is just as important as your physical well being, and it's just as important as your work. You need to take care of yourself first.
I
So,
100% agree with that.
yeah, and so that's our topic for today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Talk and Play podcast. I'm your host, Don, joined by Matt.
Hey, Don.
Yeah, Matt.
How have you been, man? I haven't heard from you in a while.
I know I've been good. It's been about, oh man, almost 3 weeks now, going on 3 weeks.
And it's felt like forever, man. I've missed you.
I know I've missed you. I've missed this. I've been there. There's been a hole in my gut and in my heart, a very small one, but it needs to be filled with the podcast. I feel like this is a nice little outlet and a nice hobby and just something fun that we do, and I've been itching to get back and just start talking again. So,
Oh,
yeah,
completely.
man.
It's a way for us to just sit back and relax and talk about our feelings. And I'm so glad that we're doing this.
Me too, man. Especially because today, I was really excited about our topic today, and that is mental health. My story at the beginning wasn't just because I wanted people to be like, "Oh, poor Don." No, this is a way to, this is me wanting to really just open up and be like, "Hey, this is something I think we need to address." But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, our 14 subscribers, we are back. So thank you for being so patient with us.
Yeah,
First
we
things first,
definitely.
I go for it.
Sorry, we definitely appreciate each and every one of you. And we see the analytics, we see you guys watching our videos, and we would definitely like for you guys to comment, as much as you can. We want to hear from you guys, because you guys are the ones that are keeping this thing going. So, once again, from the bottom of our hearts, we definitely appreciate you watching our videos.
Oh, for sure. And going off of that now, I think we need to just like address the elephant in the room right away. So we have not recorded, as of right now, we should have been recording actually what we were supposed to have about we were supposed to have two episodes. Yeah, so two
Yeah,
episodes for 2 weeks.
episodes. Mm-hmm.
So we've missed two episodes. This is actually one of the episodes we were gonna do. Excuse me. This is one of the episodes we were gonna do, but kind of fitting that we're talking about it now because the main reason that we hadn't recorded in a while, a couple things. First off, life gets in the way, and if we're gonna practice, we got to practice what we preach. And one of the things is we preach taking care of our responsibilities, our mental health, and our mental well-being. And we can't really do that if we can't really do that if we let everything around us fall apart. We got to be sure we keep ourselves together and make sure we keep everything going. And so life got in the way, some things happened, and one of the big things that really happened and affected us was episode 4.
Oh yeah, that episode. I just feel bad because there was a lot of negativity and it brought a lot of flashbacks from 2020 that I just wanted to get out the door so we can keep moving forward.
Exactly. Episode 4 was all about, if you guys go back, episode 4 was all about 2020 and just like the top news articles and headlines from 2020. And so it kind of took a toll on us. It really did. The like a couple days after, Matt, I'm gonna, don't mean to throw you on their bus here, but Matt called me and he was just like, I wasn't feeling it. It was not good for both of our mental healths. And I agree. I wasn't a big fan of episode 4 either, mainly because it was so negative. We want to try to keep this podcast as light as we can and engaging. So even if it's not the best of topics, try to keep it, try to keep something, keep it interesting. So like today, not the happiest of topics, but not a sad topic, but I think it's engaging and, informative. And so, episode 4 was just kind of like our down point and really just kind of ruined the mood. And so we were just like, we just need to take some time, step back, revise, rework, and just come back and let's get back into this thing ready with the aim of knowing what we want to do with this channel.
Exactly. And I'm so glad we're back and I'm ready to get into this. So you said today was going to be about mental health. What specifically are we going to talk about with mental health?
Well, a couple things. One, I definitely want to talk about toxic masculinity. I think that, and for the sake of this video, let's just call it TM because for some reason I have an issue. I have a hard time saying masculinity without jumbling my words. So TM, toxic masculinity. See, I did it right there.
There you go.
So TM. I also, I also want to try to bring out a little bit about, ADHD, depression, and anxiety, because hey, I have been diagnosed with all those things for a while, and especially now in the climate that we live in and the times that we're living in, I think right now I have a feeling I know what a lot of people are feeling and going through, and so I think this is a great time to kind of just talk about it and just think of this as kind of like a PSA. And then finally, the first thing I want to tackle is based off of my story. All right, so Matt, I asked you earlier. Have you ever had a boss tell you to take a day off, take a mental day, and you said no,
never.
And so I think that, and the thing that what I come to realize is I think that stems from where we've worked, because we both have worked food service. We both worked in the food industry. Um, Due to us not being able to say the places, we worked at a place that is famous for their fries and their burgers and has like, a couple 100,000 stores around the world. And we've also worked at a pizza place that is a fast food pizza place, has a pizza that's kind of famous that like no one else does. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think that hopefully that can kind of give you an idea of where we worked. Um, and I feel like working in food industry and working in customer service, you end up feeling guilty for trying to take time off.
Oh,
What do you
completely.
think?
Yeah, it's like every time I've had to call off in the past, they're like, "Oh, you sure you can't come in?" They don't even ask what's wrong with me specifically. I have to go in depth on what's wrong. And there are days you definitely need to take some time off, or else you're just not going to perform at the highest level that you want to.
Exactly. And like I think for some reason, like the experiences I've had, like the general managers of the places that we worked at, especially the pizza place we worked at, I feel like the general managers had a really good understanding. Like if you called off for a reason, they made it work. Were they happy about it? No, but they still let you take the time off, but they weren't like always the happiest, because food industry is so fast paced and so hectic. You also worked at a car dealership for a while.
That was the worst for calling off. I was at the point where I was scared to call my boss because, speaking of toxic masculinity, working in the back of a shop, like we were in the dealership working on cars in, 90-degree heat. It was terrible. There's guys there just flexing on how much they could get done during the day, and our boss just staring at us like a hawk, making sure he got as much work out of us as he could in a given day. And when you wanted to call out, it was like the end of the world to them. So it's like you would come in every day, like I don't want to say scared, but like just you came in out of fear. No matter if you were sick, like depressed or anything, man, you just came in.
Yeah, and I remember we were talking about this before, like way back when you were working at the shop, and it was almost like there was this like machismo like mentality of like, oh, you're sick, oh, you're gonna take time off because you don't feel well mentally. Like it was just like you couldn't take time off for your mental health.
Exactly. And we're supposed to be like rough people, when we work on cars. Nothing's supposed to fear us or make us feel sick. No, we're supposed to be, superhuman at that point.
Right. And that was kind of the same thing when we were working in food industry. It was like you would take the time off, or you would call in and say I'm not feeling well, but then there was this air of like, oh, you're letting down your coworkers, you're letting down your manager, you're letting down, you just end up feeling like the weight of the world almost. And so now finally being in the field that I am as a teacher, I love that we have substitutes, and I love that we have things in place that allow me and us as teachers to allow us to take care of ourselves. I'm a big believer that mental health is super important. We had one manager at the pizza place that pizza place that we both bonded over the fact that we both had anxiety and depression. That is something that it's not easy to talk about, and it's it's really draining. Because that story that I told you earlier, I knew I was having a panic attack. I knew it wasn't anxiety, because an anxiety attack builds up. Like an anxiety attack like that happens, over a couple hours, days. You feel it ramping up until you finally just break down. Panic attack was just is onset. So we had anxiety, and so me and this manager and I, we bonded over that because we both know what that felt like. I know that you haven't been diagnosed with any mental disorders or disabilities.
No,
Um,
in that's kind of stems on from where I grew up, especially with my father specifically. He didn't believe that men could have these mental issues or suffer from anxiety. It's all just something that we're making up in our head. And so there could be stuff that's going on or that I should have been diagnosed with back in the day, but I guess I won't know unless, I actually get it figured out.
yeah. Yeah, I remember you. Like I have met your father. You've told me stories about him, and that kind of mentality. I feel like mental health has really started to take a really big turn and started to take center stage when it comes to being healthy, especially more in the modern age. If you go back 10, 15 years, it was still kind of, I don't want to say taboo, but like it was just one of those things where like no one really no one really talked about it, and if you did talk about it, it was like a huge deal.
Right.
And so, like having anxiety is terrible. Anxiety comes in all shapes and sizes, from having anxiety attacks to having just like the shakiness and uneasiness of knowing of the unknown. I get that sometimes where if I don't know what's going to happen, or like if it, like you go back into the past, think about like when a girlfriend would say, "Oh, we need to talk."
Yes. Those are
uh,
the words you dread, man.
right. Every man dreads that. Like you hear, "Oh, we need to talk," but sometimes it was just like, I think we need to go out to dinner sometime because we haven't had dinner. We haven't gone on a dinner date in a while, and it's like, really, you couldn't text me this?
Right.
Like having to sit and stew in that panic ends up being, that stems from my anxiety of like, if I don't know what's going on or I don't have clear answers, I start freaking out. But then I'm also very good at improvising and just going with the flow. So it's weird. The other one, and I know you having, like, I can tell you, sorry, I can tell you the way you, like, from knowing you for 10 years now, I can tell you have some kind of anxiety. Like you have the signs, you have the symptoms, and
Oh, yes.
you also, and I can tell you have depression too, because we both have gone into those moments where, and anybody listening, if you have depression, you've felt it too, where you'll have your week or two or three or even a month where you just kind of shut down from everybody. You don't want to get out of bed, but you have to. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to talk to anybody. Your simple pleasures like gaming, going back to our main thing of gaming, even if you've ever sat down and turned on your system and just scroll through your games back and
Oh,
forth
yes.
like for 10, 15 minutes going, I don't know what to play, you're probably having a depressive episode, even if it's a minor one.
There's no
That
worse
is
feeling than popping in your favorite game and then just sitting there 5 minutes later, like, yeah, this isn't doing it for me, man.
right. And so, we gotta, the big thing, and then we're gonna get into the toxic masculinity. Oh man, that word. We're gonna get into that next, but the big thing is, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are listening, right now, the climate of our lives and our world has changed dramatically. We know this. We're all seeing it. We're all experiencing it. Our lives were uprooted, and we had to change everything on the fly. So the main reason why I wanted to do this whole video in the first place was to just remind everyone that even if you feel like you're losing, even if you feel like you're down, if you feel like what is this all worth or what is this all for, you need to remember that you listening right now managed to change your life around and adapt to what was necessary for something that was unforeseen. We didn't see this coming, and so The fact that you were able to do that, that is an accomplishment in itself. The fact that you are still alive and breathing is an accomplishment. The fact that you've been able to get up and shower and feed yourself is an accomplishment. Take the small wins. Because if you start trying to analyze the large, bigger picture and you try to compare yourself to everything around you and try to compare, all these grand, horrible things that have been going on, and you start feeling small. You start feeling small when you compare yourself to everything else. So my big advice and my big thing that I just want to say is look inside your small little bubble, your individual bubble. Did you wake up? Congratulations. I'm proud of you. Did you eat? I'm proud of you. Did you finish another day at work, either working from home or if you're on the front lines, whether you're, an essential employee from a grocery store or if you're an essential employee working in a hospital or a pharmacy, if you went to work and you survived another day without breaking down, congratulations, I'm proud of you. Because at the end of the day, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Yeah, sure, you may not be going to the gym as much as you used to, and that's okay. You don't need to. You may not be, maybe you're not cooking as much as you used to, or going grocery shopping as much. Well, things changed. Our lives changed. Everything changed, and that is okay. Just know that the small wins are what you should be looking for, because at the end of the day, everything changed. And your mental health, take time for yourself. Take time to just do something that you enjoy. Do not feel guilty for calling in sick for a day because, I'm gonna, my employees are going to, or my coworkers are gonna be mad at me. At that point, what's more important? You going in drained and tired and only giving it 50%, or resting up and being able to go in the next day and giving yourself 110%.
Exactly. And I know that you and I haven't talked about this specifically, but I feel like it's a good idea. So I'm going to throw it out there. We're going to be making a Facebook and a Twitter account. And if you guys feel the need to, send us a personal message, just letting us know how your day went, or if there's something that you specifically want to talk about, or just say hi, or one of our team members will definitely be here for you guys, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can, just to say hi and, just give some comments, and we'd love to get to know you guys.
Yeah, we're by no means, we are not experts, we are not trained professionals, but sometimes just having someone to talk to, even if it's two random losers who are doing a podcast because they wanted to, sometimes it's just nice to know that there's somebody there listening. We can't do any more than to just offer our time and just an ear, or our eyes in this case. But just know that even if we've never met, even if we've never crossed paths, even if we've had brief moments where we've talked maybe for a few seconds, just know that at the end of the day, we are proud of you for still being alive, for still surviving and going through and adapting in these times. So, just take time for yourself, guys. Make sure you do not feel guilty for caring about yourself, because at the end of the day, you are your number one. You are your MVP, your VIP. You should always look out for yourself first, because you need to be strong to be able to handle everything around you. So remember, we are getting a Twitter and a Facebook account under the Talk and Play podcast. So reach out to us if you ever feel the need. When that is up and running, we will come back and put a link to it. Or even in the comments. I mean, we got awesome people. I mean, we have people like our writer Reggie, who likes to comment on our videos. Just put a comment in there, man, and guys, and just if you guys feel like you want, hopefully, if you want somebody to talk back to, or just vent, go for it.
Yeah, we would love to hear from you guys.
for sure. Like this is a safe place, so you know, there's no guilt or there's no judging here.
Nope.
Speaking of judging,
Yes.
the TM, toxic masculinity. Yeah, TM. So you had a really you had that all throughout your childhood. Like that was a big issue that you had to deal with a lot more than I did.
Oh yes, there was. I grew up in a household where the definition of a man was someone that just went to work, every day of the week, didn't show any emotion, wasn't allowed to be sad, have any type of mental issues, and then that was it. That's how we lived our life.
Yeah, I remember one of the first times you came over and like you actually met my family. It was almost kind of like culture shock to you because like you saw our family, and in my family we talked about our emotions. Even my father, who is in his 50s, like he grew up in that era of like what it means to be a macho man, and even he wasn't like that. Like he went against the grain.
And it sort of it affects me to this day because I still have that mindset. I'm trying to change from that, but like certain life events where I should have a certain like attitude or emotion towards it doesn't phase me like most other people, and I'm basically just like a blank wall, and I feel like that's terrible because people then look at me like I can't even say how they look at me, but they're like something's wrong with me, but it's just I may feel it on the inside, but I'm not going to show it. But I feel that if more people actually showed how they were feeling, it'd make other people feel better because it makes them feel like they're a part of the same issue or whatever is going on in their life.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, especially when it comes to men, women can have it in the sense of like what it means to be a girl, and I can't really talk about that because like I know, like we're open. Like for us, there's no one mold that fits everybody. There's not one mold to be a man or one mold to be a woman. Like you can be in a spectrum and a range of things, but growing up, seeing guys where they're like, oh, like like I don't consider TM like, oh, going hunting or having a drink with the boys or things like that. That's not TM to me. What TM is, you can't show your emotions, like you said. You can't, that the man is the man of the house and all he does is he has to work, and that's his only contribution. Like, no. WTF?
Yeah, it's not how it should be. We're supposed to be working as a team, especially in a family, and especially at a time like this. Everyone has to work together and tell each other how they're feeling, because that's how you move forward with things. You can't just stuff things inside your body until it just erupts, because then it becomes a much bigger issue.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have times where I do hold in some things, and I think that's because it's not that I'm too macho or too manly to express myself. It's I don't want to hurt other people. I don't want other people to be hurting like me. I'm more of like if I'm going to suffer, I need to suffer in silence and just not bring it up to other people, because at the end of the day, I don't want others to hurt as well. Like like me, like it's funny because I feel like a lot of people who know me and who've met me know that I am like the complete opposite of what like a traditional like man is. Like, yes, I'm a male, and yes, I work, and I have hobbies, but at the end of the day, like, I love cooking. I will do the dishes. I don't mind doing dishes in the house. I do the grocery shopping because my girlfriend Shannon, she is the breadwinner. She is the one that makes more money. She works. It's kind of funny because she works the white collar job and I work a pink collar job. I'm a teacher. And so I don't fit the manly mold. I express myself. I express my feelings. I am confident in my sexuality where I can even, people would look at me weird because even in high school, if you came in, like I remember times where you would come in and you'd be wearing like a nice shirt or something, and I'd be like, dang, Matt's looking sexy today.
Yeah, I have no problem with that, man. It's, you have to appreciate the way another man is dressed or how they look because it just shows that they upkeep themselves. It doesn't mean anything else, they just want to look good,
Right.
you
And
know?
so, exactly. And so the people would hear that. And I mean, for the longest time, just because we were, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like in high school, I had a big impact on you to opening up and just letting yourself be you.
Yeah, you definitely broke me out of my mold. Definitely, if there's stuff I didn't want to do, you made sure I did it. Which it wasn't like peer pressure. It's just it was exciting because it was new stuff, and I'm so grateful that you were patient with me when it comes to stuff like that. And I got to meet a lot of new people because of you.
Yeah. And dude, I mean, it was awesome. It was a good time. And, it becomes this whole thing of, going back to that with TM. Me, I would compliment you and be like, man, oh man, your shirt looks nice, or oh dude, those are some new pants. Oh, you look awesome. And just lifting each other up, or just playing around, and like I would see somebody walking through, if we were in the like lunchroom in high school and someone would walk by, I would like wolf whistle, I'd be like, and people looked at me and they even started thinking you and I were a homosexual couple.
Yeah, that's like the first thing,
Be-
like our generation with that. I know it's like, generations before us, they thought that was, that's how it was, and that wasn't acceptable to, say that towards another man. But it's like it's not how it is.
exactly,
I
things
appreciate
changed.
that he came in looking fresh. You know what I mean?
Right, like I'm just like, we gotta, just like how now there's like the, there's the big movement of like women lifting each other up. Like we were lifting each other up as men because at the end of the day, you know, there shouldn't be a mold. Like you should just be free to feel how you want. And so with toxic masculinity, man,
That one's
I
getting
love
you
that word.
tonight, man.
It is, man. That's, I don't know why. Like that letter combination is like it's a tongue twister for me. But but me, the way I behaved in school, it was like I did drama. I was a drama kid, and there was a few of us, but like I was a male drama student. I loved to dance. I love doing accents and just being silly and goofy. Like, I'm not a stoic, stone face, man who'll sit down and be like, give me a beer. Like, I don't even like beer. like, I
Yeah.
don't. I prefer myself a fruity drink. Give me a pina colada. Give me a daiquiri. I'll take ciders. And so, but then, of course, you go to the other end of it. I also like to drink my hard liquor. But I'm not like I don't fit that mold. I don't do woodworking or and again, that's not. But like that's not a TM thing. It's just one of those things where like people are like look at me and they're just like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "I can make you laugh. Like I can't fix your oil. I can't fix anything around the house. Like I can hammer stuff and I know how to use a screwdriver and I can fix little things here and there. But like." Other than that, if you're like, "Oh, my lights are out," be like, "Call an electrician. I got nothing." Like, "Oh, there's a hole in my wall." Okay,
Sorry.
sorry for my bad. I can get you the phone number to somebody. I know people.
I can lend you my ear to listen, but that's about it.
Yeah, like I can listen to your problems and I can offer advice. Like you should, like if you tell me, "Oh, there's a hole in my wall," I can be like, "Man, that's terrible. You should probably get it fixed." Like, so like the big thing is TM. It's how toxic masculinity. Ugh.
We're gonna
That's
get
one
through
of those
this
things
together, okay?
we
We're
we will survive. But it's especially now, I'm seeing and hearing. I'm still seeing and hearing that. Like people were like, "Oh, what makes a man? A man needs to be this. A man needs to be that." And there shouldn't be a mold. There shouldn't be a one size fits all because we come in all shapes and sizes, and we all have our own skill sets. Like there are times where personally I think if we use that mold, then I would say, Matt, you are more manly than me if we use that mold.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not. I mean, I don't like that mold. I think we should have a. I don't even know, but I think of you as more of a man, to be honest, man. I mean, the way you are towards everyone, and you're so caring. That I feel like that's what a man should be. Overall, it's just caring and understanding.
First off, thank you. I appreciate that. Second off, I agree. I think what makes what makes a good man, or what makes a man in general, should be your character, how you treat other people, how you support one another. It's not about this. It's not about this old school mentality of like the man works, the man earns the money, the man, the man comes home, dinner's supposed to be on the table for the man. No, like, no. What about qualities like being caring, being empathetic, being just a good person? Like,
Oh yeah, showing empathy is huge. That's my last job was at a call center, and people would call in so upset because of the situation they were in, and once you showed them just a little bit of empathy, it turned the whole situation around.
right. Yeah, like being a teacher, I've seen I've seen like the I've seen what it looks like for a toxic male to be in a teacher role. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've experienced it, and it's not cool. It's not pretty. It's not fun. Like, sure, it may look funny in some senses, but at the same time, like, I think one of the things that my coworkers always tell me is the reason what makes me such a good educator is that I care about these kids. I'm not just there to do the job. I don't see it as just a job. I see it as like, this is a life that I chose because I care about others, and I want, we're going to talk about this in another episode, but main reason why I became a teacher is I want to be the hero for these kids. I want to be the hero that I never had growing up.
Right, because
You know,
you can probably agree to this. I mean, we've had teachers that we know they're there just for the paycheck, and then there's
uh-huh.
teachers there that literally care about you as a person, and it changes your whole experience, especially when I
Yeah.
feel, me personally, like in the later grades, when stuff's getting a little bit tougher, there's peer pressure and trying to fit in, and having that teacher that's caring for you and helping to guide you, on a personal level, is just outstanding.
Yeah. I bonded more with the empathetic teachers. I bonded more with, you know, I loved all my teachers, but there's specifically our sophomore English teacher. He
Yes.
was super empathetic. He was not a traditional male. Like, he was, when I saw him work, I look back at that and I'm just like, that's exactly what I was aiming for, and I feel like I've reached that, and I love that. I can't, I cannot thank that teacher enough. I don't want to say his name, but shout out to Mr. B.
Yes. Mr. B.
For Mr. B was phenomenal, and he really helped us out. I think we definitely could have easily fallen into this toxic male ideology. I mean, there was a lot of people around us that fit that mold.
Oh yeah.
And it's, I'm glad that we didn't end up in that. And so, all that just to say that, ladies and gentlemen, like, especially the gentlemen listening, it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to share your feelings. It does not make you less of a man to open up. It does not make you less of a man to show empathy. It does not make you less of a man to be good to other people. If anything, it makes you more of a man.
Yes. I
And
100%
again,
agree.
and again, it's not, like I said, it's just two jacks, two guys, two losers who just wanted to make a podcast talking to you guys. But I hope listening to this, either if you are not a toxic male, you hear this and you go, I like these guys because that's what I'm like. Awesome. Cool. If you feel like you do fall into that toxic trait and you heard us and you're just like, you don't know what you're talking about, it's your opinion, you know, that at the end of the day, it's all of our opinions. And our opinion is what makes a real man is somebody who's empathetic and caring. You know, that's that. I think that's what we should all strive for. Is everyone, I think, should learn to be empathetic and caring towards one another, because I think that's what's lacking a lot right now.
Yeah, and you don't know what type of impact that's going to make on someone else is when you are giving them the empathy or being caring towards them, and not just giving them that stereotype of, you know, telling them that, hey, you need to be a man, suck it up, you know?
Right. Finally, you know, going off what you just said, caring about other people, you know, you don't know what other people are going through. You don't know what the other person is dealing with. You don't know what issues somebody is dealing with in the background, in the back of their lives. And so, you know, it costs nothing to just be kind, because that person that you might want to make fun of or you see as lesser, you know, they could be literally at the end of their rope, and next thing you know, if just by showing a little empathy and just caring, you might make the difference of letting a person stay on this planet. Because again, mental health, guys, it affects all of us. You know, we are all going through something, and all we need is, sometimes all somebody needs is somebody to show that they care.
Yes.
But enough of our high horse, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Episode 5 of Talk and Play Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We will be putting out more videos as we, as the week goes on, and as the few weeks go on. Next video is going to be about, we're still going to go backwards in time again, but we want to talk about some stuff that happened in 2020, but in gaming, because there was a lot of cool things we didn't get to talk about. So keep an eye out for that. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining us again. I've been Don, that's been Matt, and it's time for us to wrap things up. So, for right now, we're going to log off. Until next time, keep gaming, stay safe.